Yeah, the fans are out in force. And looks like we have a pause. So, sorry fans. You're out in force, but you couldn't force this game to not be paused. Looks like maybe it's a problem with Pawn's PC. Not sure why we're getting a close look here.
Camera is on him. So we can use this time, though, to talk a little bit more about the team composition. So you have the Talon versus the Orianna in mid lane. And interestingly, Faker actually opted for Barrier instead of Exhaust against the Talon. And then out you have the Ezreal Nami versus the Jhin Karma. And the way that you're looking at everything is Score's impact on the Gragas is going to be so crucial for this composition, because if they can get ahead, they can really just take over the game. If Def starts getting the mobility, if he can ramp up into Trinity Force earlier than normal, it would be really difficult for SK Telecom to stabilize. And then in addition to that, it's going to be very difficult to really contain the Talon if Huni is being forced to use his ultimate defensively for his team constantly. And they're going to definitely be up inside of Peanut's jungle probably before he can get level 6, and it's going to be about keeping a leash on him.
So a little bit of an update on the situation. We were actually getting it. I wasn't able to quite hear exactly what the issue was. I think it was Mata. I think his sound was too loud, Mata, so just configuring the sound settings for now. So, should be into this in just a couple of seconds. In fact, the pause is now ended. And here we go.
Alright, so we are into the game. See both teams fanning out, although Score and Smet hugging each other right there in case Peanut would try to move up. Probably going to be a Raptor start for Score, so that he has a little bit more flexibility in his jungle. And the important thing here is if you look at the mid and top dynamics, Peanut doesn't really have much incentive to go either mid or top until his laners are going to be around level 4, 5, and 6, whereas Score, right from the get-go, has the option to go either mid or top, level 2, level 3, level 4. And even in bottom lane, depending on how Bang and Wolf play out the lane, they're going to have to be careful, as Peanut is going to have a very hard time aiding them in bottom on this blue side Rengar.
We see Huni coming on in here alone, in fact, just trying to aggro saplings, and he takes a bit of damage, but at least does make the Raptor camp harder to take for Gragas, I suppose.
Does make it a little bit more difficult, and that will slow down his clear, but not entirely sure if the damage was totally worth it, although he is already back up in top lane. He is on that blue gangplank, so he does have the luxury of being able to play defensively. And meanwhile, Pawn shoved Faker in. Underneath the turret, we have some poking going down in bottom lane. It's going to be really important to watch how Peanut and Score play out their early jungle routes. We're looking to basically see if they go for 3 camps or if they go for 5 camp clears.
See Pawn getting aggressive early, but already taking a lot of damage. Faker still has a decent amount of mana pool left over. Oh, look at this. He's actually going to get that Deadly Flourish onto Mata, forcing out a very early exhaust onto Bang. That's not exactly what KT wanted this early on the bot lane.
They wanted the Summoner Spell War in bottom, and that's going to be very difficult now. Score would want to make his way down the bottom, and we can see that he did Raptor red into blue, so certainly wanted to get aggressive or at least come into the Scuttle Crab. Otherwise, he would have picked up the Wolf camp or Gromp camp already.
Oh, look at this. Death getting aggressive, forcing the exhaust down. Here's Score, the flash in. They're going to go into Wolf, and this is going to be first blood going on over to Score. A fantastic way to start here for KT.
Excellent start by KT. They relieve the pressure in bottom. You can see that SK Telecom don't have any summoners available, and Score has a lot of freedom still with his roots. And you look at top lane, and you look at mid lane right now, and you can see how difficult it is for Peanut. They have the late game yet again. And this is very similar to how SK Telecom versus KT panned out in their last series where SK Telecom would fall behind a lot early and then look to the superior mid and late game transitioning to recover back into the game, and they're going to have it yet again. But KT is really scary when they get advantages.
So I was trying to read exactly what that CG was. I think maybe Score just hit his 1,000th kill. I'd like to get some confirmation on that if possible from our producer, but I'll let you guys know. It seems like it was in fact his 1,000th kill, so congrats to him. Another guy on one of these two teams that hits 1,000 the last week.
Huni moving in, he wants to get some sort of intel for his team. It's really important that they try to keep track of Score. If Score gets another kill, or if he can give one of his laners another assist, he can then just go into pure counter jungling mode and basically keep eyes on Peanut at all times, because at that point, his laners, due to the dynamic of these lanes, should be able to just take the game over themselves without his intervention. And without Rengar coming to aid, it would be very difficult to stabilize.
Very interesting to see the way that Pawn plays this lane. He essentially doesn't fight Faker. He just goes up to the minions. Well, as I say that, he is going in for a final 1v1. The Ignite goes down, the flash forward, and he's not able to get the kill onto Pawn. Faker does survive as well, but does blow his flash and just barely misses that kill.
Really close knife fight right there. It almost looked like Faker wasn't anticipating that all in. They managed to trade summoners. They have Peanut now here in mid lane to help shove in the wave, but they didn't have information on if Pawn had recalled, so Faker's actually going to fall behind in experience, and that can be really dangerous for the level 6 spike.
Definitely very, very true. Faker has to know that coming into the lane the next time. Here comes Peanut. Was seen by a ward that Wolf was clearing out. Pawn gonna push in this wave and then go back, no doubts.
This wave gives him level 6. Yep, he did just get it, and now with having that level 6, it's really scary because you can see that SK Telecom, they don't have any frontal wards across the river, with the exception of that one in right side river, but that's not really providing a lot of information. So now Pawn, with that level 6, they don't know exactly how he's gonna itemize, and they could potentially have to entertain if he would just roam somewhere with that parkour.
Score was going pretty deep there, laying down a bunch of wards. Thankfully for SKT, he was spotted. Score just has to get out of there. First dragon of the game is going to be an Infernal Drake, so we could see some early team fighting around that objective, as it is definitely a very important objective for both of these teams. You can see that Faker's now hit 6. So even though he was behind in that experience, he has equaled, or rather evened it up in the levels for now.
Pawn keeps shoving in the wave, and now it looks like he's just going into the fog of war. All this is going to do is going to apply pressure. Does place a defensive pink ward.
He's just waiting in that brush. Pings are going down on mid. You can see Score is looking for it here. Faker does not have his flash, whereas Score does, so he could really set up a big kill onto Faker, if possible. And here he comes. Gonna get that stun on into Faker. There's the burst damage out of Pawn. Can they get it? There it is, the first kill. Going on to Faker. Pawn, though, will be turned onto by Gangplank Ultimate. And Score and Peanut not able to quite kill themselves, so it's going to be a 1-for-1. Hold that thought, Death still going deeper on the Wolf. Gotta land that True Shot Barrage, does it onto Bang, in fact. But here comes Snap, the action never ends. Coming on in, onto that ward with the teleport, goes onto Wolf. Both Deft and Mata can't really get close for now. They have to go take the long way around. Wolf, though, getting very, very low. The ultimate of Snap just barely not enough to kill Wolf. He's going to back off, but here, he's going to go off to Peanut, in fact. He does use that to get out of the CC and just barely survives.
Oh man, the team fighting and just everything from these two teams is such a pleasure to watch. The mid-game chaos into that extended bottom lane trade. They did get the kill onto Faker, then it was obviously turned around by Huni and Peanut being able to provide assistance with their ultimates. And all things considered, at the end of the day, at the end of that chaos, when the smoke clears, SK Telecom are going to come out ahead because it's trading across the map. And we can look at this again in the replay. Smep came in, and he gets onto Wolf, but unfortunately for him, he didn't quite have the damage to get through Wolf's shield. From Karma, Wolf flashes away. They managed to lock up Peanut right there, but just didn't quite have the damage to bring him down. And even though Score was headed, he didn't have his ultimate or flash anymore available to him. So right now, this is taking a very similar course to one of the previous games that they played in the first time that they met, where yes, KT is getting kills, they're being very active, very proactive on the map, and we're seeing a lot of fights unfold, but the clock is on. The game plank and the scaling from the Orianna and the Jhin, paired against KT's composition, is really scary. They do have Maokai, and Talon's always going to be a threat, but eventually the game might get to a tipping point where KT's going to run out of gas.
Yeah, so they got to push their advantage here early on. You can see that Nami Mata right now just really warding up that Infernal Drake. You have to think whether or not they're going to be going onto that anytime soon. Bit of trading up top. Looks like it's pretty even, but at the same time, Score's coming in here undetected up towards top. And here comes Pawn too. This could be really devastating for Huni if he doesn't spot this out. And it looks like he has some idea of it now. Backing up to his turret. Here comes Score, getting that tower aggro, and they're just going to not be able to get Huni in. The ultimate. There goes Pawn. Huni actually able to clean it up. And here's Peanut taking out Pawn on the backside of that. Gets a 2 for 1, and he wants more. Looks like he's not going to be able to get close enough to Smeb, but a really nice turnaround there from Huni and Peanut.
These games are so bloody across the board. Pawn did rotate up. Peanut was there though for the clapback, and in mid lane, Faker just getting a lot of farm, unable to match the roam from the Talon. Can't quite keep up with that speed. KT though, getting the first blood turret of the game, really big for them. It's going to unlock Deft and it's going to unlock Mata. Now though, with the pressure that just happened up in top lane, you have to be thinking to yourself that KT want to transition into the lower half of the map and begin turning their attention towards the Infernal Dragon.
They're getting a pretty nice chunk of damage on the mid turret as well. Like it's just below half health. You can see you were talking about that focus on the Infernal Drake now. Peanut making his way down, clearing out the control ward. Is spotted. You can see 3 members of KT were hanging around, looking for a pick. Nice true shot barrage, getting both Bang and Wolf to about half health.
For SK Telecom right now is no curtain call available, and Bang and Wolf are hurt. Mata able to heal up his teammate. They also have that fruit plant that they can use if they want to turn their attention towards the dragon. And also, something else I want to point out is the interesting itemization from Huni, the Sterax, as the first item of choice for him. Definitely going to aid in surviving the all-in burst combos once the team fights unfold. Faker just playing the mid lane, very neutral defensive. Score looking to make something happen, not really finding anything right now. Up in top lane, there's already a level advantage. And they're going to need to do something really soon, because that game plank is going to get out of control, especially with how he's itemizing.
Yeah, definitely looking towards that late game. This is the way that SKT wants to play it, to sit back. Even if they get behind, they know they can use their brain to just come back, and they're scaling compositions. See if it works out for them this game. And you can see all the pinks going down towards that Infernal Drake. Lots of pink wards to deny vision. Faker's about out of mana, and he's actually holding about 2,000 gold. He is going to have to go back soon in order to buy and use up that gold before they take a fight. He will take the opportunity now. It looks like Pawn has spotted them. They're trying to bait him in with Wolf there. Not quite able to, but denying that recall. Nice job by Pawn. They're going to start that Infernal Drake now.
Gangplank ultimate is available. They have to be careful here.
Pawn able to parkour over the wall. Here's the teleport from Smeb. Looks like SKT is on the run as KT is able to pick up that Infernal Drake. And Smeb even cancels that teleport, so nicely done by KT.
Okay, Telecom though, forcing KT to go all the way around by controlling that choke point. They're going to try to get me. Oh, the damage.
Big wave clear too. Just getting that really big wave. Oh, with the lockdown onto Mata. Here comes the tidal wave onto Bang. They will line up to save Mata's life.
Mata able to use the tidal wave to cancel that curtain call. Really key at this point, and basically that was just really unfortunate for SK Telecom that they couldn't quite get in position to properly contest the Dragon, and Huni's Gangplank ultimate was just a little bit mispositioned. So KT picking up that Drake is really important for them, primarily because of that scaling component that we talked about earlier. They'll definitely play a part in helping alleviate that pressure.
Next Drake of the game will be Mountain Drakes, another very important one here. You can see Pawn has also made his way down to the bot lane. Deft and Mata just hanging around mid. Mata doing a good job of warding up the top side of the river this time around as they have switched places. Just a bit of a lull for now, no big action.
Something that you were mentioning earlier, the brains of SKT, something I was talking about with you earlier was also how this matchup is very brains versus brawn. In the sense that KT, they come out swinging, and they really just look to overthrow SK Telecom and make it impossible for them to stabilize. But if SKT do ever manage to stabilize, they seem much more comfortable in that mid to late game transition where they seem to have a lot more understanding of map movements and defensive play. And it's how they tended to, in their last, collision, claw their way back into games and eventually overthrow KT. And I mean, credit to both of the teams because their team fighting is also on an entirely different level.
Yeah. I mean, even though KT is essentially the bronze, the super mechanically skilled team with all the superstars on their team, SKT has got a couple of their own. Some really nice fights we've been able to see already. Here comes Peanut down towards bot. Doesn't look like Pawn has an idea. He's about to see him. Peanut, in fact, is not going to take the 1v1 for now, as he is spotted by another ward. And Pawn does back off. Here comes Score onto Peanut, just laying down a bit of damage. Mata there to support him. Deft with a nice bit of poking onto Wolf into the mid lane. So some members of SKT losing some of their health. Pawn is scouring the jungle, looking for his next prey.
KT trying to keep the heat on. And SK Telecom just trying their best to keep scaling up. You can see that all their laners right now are in a very defensive position. Even with just the barrier, he's able to survive the all-in burst from Pawn.
Yeah, it seems to be a good pick. I suppose that exhaust can sometimes be hard to get down at the correct moment before talent go invisible. So just using that barrier to stay alive. Mountain Drake has spawned here. Baron also about to come up in 19 seconds. So lots of big objectives coming out here, and it will be a little bit harder for SKT to just sit back and let KT take the entire map. We'll see what they want to do in terms of just fighting them and trying to limit KT's options. The almost used here by Pawn. Bit of damage being put on to Peanut. No stun. Just trying to ward them off of that Drake.
Peanut has had the same items for what feels like an eternity. He's really banking up pretty high amount of gold right now. Mountain Drake is probably the most exciting for viewers dragon that could have spawned right now, because we talked about earlier, neither team was really in a position, and KT especially, to get that Baron, but if they can get the Mountain Drake, that'll certainly change things.
Well, the tidal wave coming out here, Peanut expertly dodging that, is able to jump away, and none of the engage there from KT does land them a kill, but at least they do open it up for the Mountain Drake to be taken. See, the teleport was used by Smeb as well to just ward them back, as Huni stays top and keeps his teleport. They're looking for Smeb rotating up at the top. Mata is here. Just not in the tidal wave, but there are 3 members of SKT doing a ton of damage. After all, it is Maokai. Can they actually kill him? That's the question. He's going to flash away. They can. Oh, they're going to turn it up again. A huge amount of burst damage. Coming out there and getting the kill. A double kill now for Huni. As they pick up Mata, and Smeb in a lot of danger here. Was underneath his turret. Didn't expect his whole team to die. The curve call even used here, and Smeb is going to go down as well. The kill given over to Peanut, and that is 3 kills going over to SKT.
SK Telecom, and that just wasn't any 3 kills. It was 2 kills onto Huni, who is the primary damage sourcer, who will be basically the longer that this game goes. A late game Gangplank is arguably the scariest champion in the game. And SK Telecom picked themselves up a Baron. KT, though, bouncing back, they're attacking the Baron without attacking the Baron. Taking away minion waves from SKT. They're not going to be able to buff any of those minions and begin the siege. And they picked themselves up some turrets in the meantime, so the gold score remains very even, but the game is telling a different story. And in this replay here, you can see it almost looked like they couldn't quite kill Smeb. Peanut with that tank variation on the Rengar, and Smeb having so much armor, it looked like he wasn't going to go down, but then they managed to lock up depth, turn their attention to Mata immediately. Deadly Flourish missed, but it didn't quite matter, and then at that point, Smeb was just a sitting duck.
The bolas onto Ezreal were just so key, because Death could not shift away. He was just locked down. Even the exhaust coming out, they wanted that kill so badly, and they were able to get it. That's really what led to opening that up. So now Baron onto KT, or rather SKT, and those 3 kills. Bit of a gank coming out here onto Baker. He's going to try to fight Pawn. Bit of damage coming out, but it's not quite enough, as they do take out Baker. at the end of it all. But here's Huni going 1v2, has Peanut in the wing. So that is going to be a kill now onto Peanut. Score gets locked up by the deadly flourish. Nice bubble by Mata to keep Huni on the back foot. And they're just going to trade 1-for-1 for now. But here we go, Smed coming in from the left side. Looks like KT wants to take this fight. Peanut very low. Deadly flourish to lock up score in the back. But Huni very low. The ultimate coming out, and he's still alive. Somehow, Mata's gonna go down. Death extremely low as well. That grenade almost takes him out. He's still alive over there on the right side. Wolf is just barely gonna get that kill. Smed in the meantime going with Huni is still alive somehow and gets the kill onto Smed. Score, the only one that will survive this fight.
That looked like it was going to be so good for KT, but the movement from some of the members on SK Telecom, weaving in and out of skill shots, just able to turn the fight around. Eventually, Score managed to get out, but Huni, I mean, that was the real story of that fight. He managed to live when it looked like it was surely going to be him going down. We can look at it one more time. Watch the deadly flourish onto Score, locks him up. They get onto Huni. Gangplank ultimate came out. Look at that subtle movement from Bang. Managed to not get locked up by Mata. Turned his attention to depth, and then Wolf able to finalize the kill onto him. And then meanwhile, at the left, Score said, "See you later, guys." As Bang and Huni managed to kill Smeb right at the very end there. I don't even know if he would have needed that Karma Shield. But things go from bad to worse now for KT. And time is running out.
As you said before, all of this gold going towards their primary carry just makes things even more pleasant for SKT, as Huni doesn't even die in that last fight. Is now 6-1-3, 250 farm, and is popping off at this moment in time. Picks up a mortal reminder to Hex Drinker with all that gold that he got, and this guy is like a tank and a carrying one. Nobody can seem to kill him.
I like how he's recognizing that he's so far ahead right now that he's already dealing abnormal amounts of damage. Now, interestingly though, the Sterax and Maul Malmortia share a unique passive, Lifeline, I do believe, but he is itemizing defensively because he knows, hey, I already have more damage than I'm supposed to. Let me just make it so that you can't kill me, because I'm the real, you know, knife in your back at this point in the game that you're going to have to answer to.
You've talked about that a lot, even on stream, you know. There's so much gold onto Huni. If he just dies immediately, KT is going to be in such a fantastic spot. Hold that thought. We do have their little hunts coming down. Deft in a lot of trouble. Three shots being put onto him by Bang in the back on Jin. And they pick up another kill onto Deft, who's now 0-3.
The pirate and his cat. That's some of the stories of these fights that end up unfolding. Peanut now going to turn his attention on red buff, take that away. Pawn's looking for an assassination, but really, who are you even going to be able to kill? I mean, this is for me right now. I'm curious if... Okay, well, no, we're not going to see it, but I don't think Talon can actually shred that tank Rengar. And then obviously Faker with the barrier and Zanya's Hourglass shouldn't be able to get killed either.
SKT, all the fighting they had, nets them 10,000 gold in the span of their Baron buff, with a difference of 3.2k. So pretty fantastic.
They're just so good at the mid and the late game that even when KT, they bring these types of drafts, and if they don't manage to get the leads that they need, it almost just looks like it's going to be unfavorable for them the longer that the game goes on. They're not out of this yet. They can still get some merit engagements, and they do have some split push mechanics available, but it's really hard if SK Telecom have their ultimates available on the Gangplank and the Rengar.
SKT immediately going for that Ocean Drake is quite interesting. I'm sure they're pretty happy to fight with where they're at right now, and also it's going to make their Elder Drake better if they do get to that position. Oh, look at the damage onto Mana! That deadly, rather the curveball's gonna get him just barely! Deathfire touch, and look at that big shockwave too. Scoring Smith getting very low. Pawn in the back immediately gets exhausted. Is going to escape and parkour over to the left side as he just cannot stick around as SKT pushes in.
He can't do any damage. There's too many shields, and the itemization from SK Telecom is perfect. They've got the perfect answer for KT so far, and I don't know what KT is going to be able to do at this point. There's about a 6,000 gold lead right now for SKT. All lanes are, for the most part, in their favor. You see top lane still has that tier 1 turret, and it's a lane that KT would like to make use of, but with that giant wave going into SK Telecom, they might get the turret, but SKT are going to be rewarded with a giant amount of gold.
We got Baron coming up here in 30 seconds. Lots of KT members heading up towards top. You can see the top tier 1 is still up for SKT. Pawn catching the Scuttle Crab before the Baron does spawn, trying to secure some vision around this area. KT invading pretty low there. Spot here. Looking for it. Look at the shockwave. And Pawn, and the kill goes down to Pawn by Wolf. That is going to make things infinitely easier. Oh, look at it! It gets him! Somehow, some way. And that's 2 kills now for SKT with the Baron spawned up and ready to be taken.
There's going to be no way for KT to contest this. It's going to come down to score a miracle steal if he can do it. He will have the cask available. He could try to knock Peanut out of the pit and win the smite fight. They are both even level, so same damage on those smites.
No true shot barrage either, so they couldn't try to line it up with deft. Oh, lock him up to score. Baker with the dash, Peanut with the kill, and now there's zero hope for KT to take this Baron. No miracle steals, no true shot barrage. That is Baron out to 5 members of SKT.
10,000 gold lead now for SK Telecom. Faker moving up to top lane. It looks like he wanted to potentially push. He might even wait to see if depth actually goes a little bit further, because this is something that KT have shown that they do. They try to attack Baron without attacking Baron. They take away the minions, and Faker not buffing the minions, and Def just trying to see if he's maybe there. They know that he did move past a ward. Beyond that, doesn't have any intel.
We have the Mountain Drake spawning, it says next. Not sure when that's coming up, as it is not currently on timer. And looks like SKT just going back and flying as a team and looking to group up. They put Hootie down in bot, Baker heading towards top for the clear. The rest of them hanging around mid.
And look at that gold on Gangplank. 16.5 thousand. And you compare that to what Smeb has, and it's not looking so great.
Yeah, not quite. Pirate, he's found his booty in this game. That's for sure. He's looking for more booty as this game goes on. Oh, look at that. Scrying Orb is going to spot the party bush of KT. No fooling SKT this time. And I'd love to get a look at that bot lane too and just see what Smeb is doing trying to stop Huni. But either way, it looks like the push is going to come into mid lane as everybody groups up. Huni just taking blue, has his teleport available. Oh, look at the burst.
KT, they don't actually have any options available to them. It's going to come down to their team fighting ability to win them the game right now. They have no say in what's going to happen across any of the lanes because the Baron is still on. So they need to try to weather the storm and find a miracle inside of a team fight. We know that they're capable of doing that, but it's going to be so difficult against the itemization of SK Telecom.
Bang, pushing aggressively forward. Look at that damage on the death. Everybody on the run now. How are they going to be able to pick them up, trying to get the linemen in order as the inhibitor goes down? At least they do save the members of KT. KT will just back off and head towards bot.
Really like how methodical and systematic SK Telecom are being. Not wanting to take fights unnecessarily.
Yeah, always looking for the picks too. You can see the deadly flourishes that come out, and if they do, they always collapse. They have both Huni and Peanut to jump on in, Faker with the ball to support. Wolf with the speed up.
They're moving as a unit, and because KT don't have much room to work with right now, it's not even like they can have Talon go into split push mode because Talon is so important for their team. He has the lion's share of the kills, and he's going to be the primary source of damage anytime a team fight's going to break out, so they need him there if SK Telecom want to force them to bring the fight. And another thing that's unfortunate is that SKT still have 2 top turrets remaining. So even though Pawn is up here in top lane, it's not like he's threatening something like an inhibitor turret if he could just keep pushing on and have his team stall. Fortunately for them though, Baron has gone away. Elder Dragon will be the next strike of the game, so KT, if they can find some sort of a miracle pick-off, that's what it's going to come down to. They can then look to take a fight 5v4, regain some ground, manipulate the waves so that SK Telecom can't just have their pick of what they want to do. And then they need to hope to try to somehow secure the Elder Dragon, because that would be their ticket back into the game.
Yeah. Rough spot to be in when you're up against a team like SKT, a team that doesn't necessarily make mistakes when it comes into the late game. Always moving as a unit, as you're saying. I mean, we've seen Faker get picked up a couple of times, Huni here and there in some games, but it doesn't happen very often. You can see that SKT is still pushing it, even without the Baron, taking out the last second tier turret. Long is around mid lane with Peanut, who seems to be shadowing him for now. Peanut up a level. There's the burst damage onto Death, and the Gangplank ultimate comes out. Wolf with the slow, and Death is still taking so much damage. He stays alive, but here comes Peanut for the jump. Oh, and that last shot on the curtain call. Nice bubble, but the shockwave will come on to score. The cast comes out, but it's not really going to matter as Smeb desperately trying to hold off the onslaught of SKT. Here come the super minions, and a double kill for Huni. as SKT looks to end game number 1 in very dominating fashion here. Pawn trying his best, trying to get another kill, trying to have those KDA stats. It's not going to happen. And there goes down the Nexus. SKT takes game number 1.
Take game number 1 in dominating fashion from start to finish. They kept up with KT in the early parts of the game, which is so crucial for how all their games have gone since the first series. They can always manage to do that. They always seem to be a lot more comfortable in the transition. And KT, when we go into game number 2, you have to ask yourself what sort of other aggressive comps do they have up their sleeve? Or are they going to try to fight SK Telecom at their own game and perhaps draft a scaling